Right, first couple of passes, just want to pretend that you are cutting a slice of bread right off the top of this stone. This is a very rough stone. You're going to feel everything. But it's very important that you keep your right hand locked. Everything is smooth so that you know exactly what you're doing. And you're just going back and forth. I like to do around 10 to 12 passes before taking a look. I can already tell we are getting some steel removal just by looking at it. Alright, and we've already started putting that scratch pattern on it. You can see it's just on the edge of the bevel there. We're just trying to work that scratch pattern right on over. I'm going to recheck my angle, make sure I'm still on 17 degrees. And that's exactly what it feels like. Doesn't take a ton of pressure either when you have a coarse stone like this. This is actually an amazing edge to sharpen. Blade shape is amazing with that sharpening choil right there. Look at all that room we have. We don't have to worry about this part of the knife, the tang, touching or hitting, causing any difficulties with the sharpening process. Now that we've found our burr and we do feel that all the way down the blade, we are going to go ahead and switch that up to the other side. Again, find your angle. I'm using the 17-degree side, and then I'm also using my thumb and my pointer finger that is marked up perfectly for the edge. And then we're just rolling this edge side. And I'm just checking my scratch pattern to make sure that it is hitting from the top of the bevel to the apex. And you want to check this on both sides periodically throughout your sharpening process on whatever stone and grit that we've got a little bit more work to do on this edge. Some people might call you crazy when you go to a 140 grit stone to start with, but I think it's genius because I've got a 600 grit stone right after this that I'm gonna use to refine this scratch pattern, and I feel like it's gonna work really well. Continue checking in on your burr and your scratch pattern all the way up the bevel. We're looking pretty good, guys. It's going all the way up and down on both sides. I do want to make sure that my bevel is going all the way down. And we are good. We're going to keep on sharpening. You want to make sure that whenever you're turning your angle around, make sure it is the right angle. You don't want to end up with a 25 side. Might mess up what you're going for here. Alright guys, we're going to go ahead and finish up this stone with a few forward passes, backwards and forwards, backwards and forwards. We're going to get our 17-degree angle, make sure it's still there, right where it needs to be. Alright, now we're going back and forth with this angle. It is definitely smoother than that side right there, which is quite amazing. You can also see some of the remnants of the burr that we're starting to whittle down on both sides. Cut test just to see what we're working with as far as the edge goes. Oh gosh. Okay, so we obviously have to smooth this edge out quite a bit because we are still very toothy, and that's not going to cut an edge. My plan is to bring this to an even, still finer edge. Okay. Here's a quick close-up 10,000 times on that scratch pattern for the 140 grit stone. As you can see, it's very hairy down there. No pun intended. But basically you can see that there's a burr all the way down, all the way up to the apex from the bevel at the top. I do recommend investing in a cheaper digital microscope. They're very helpful. So we decided to go to the 1200 diamond stone. It's just a logical thing to do. We don't want to jump to a 2000 grit stone straight from a 600 grit stone. For one thing, I don't know if the 2000 grit ceramic stone would take off the scratch pattern needed. Some things aren't worth picking up. Just checking the scratch pattern, making sure that that is coming along nice and lovely like it is. This is pretty cool. I turned the blade over so you can actually see the apex and the wedge as I turn that over. And as you can see, it's a very fine scratch pattern with a micro burr right on the apex, just like you want it. So this 1200 grit did justice, and we're looking at a very sharp knife once we get rid of it. Alright, so we know exactly what we're working with. We just have a very small edge of the wire burr left over. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and strop, get that out of the way. Very light strokes, especially with the more velvety side of the leather. If you do the more soft side of the leather, you're just not getting as much pull. These fibers of the tougher, softer side, it's more of that burr off of there in less time. Alright, a little back and forth. And then we go straight to the strop before checking it again on the microscope. Alright, that's pretty smooth there, obviously. Alright, we're getting there, guys. I think we can get a little bit closer as well. .6000 grit, same exact 6 micron stroppy stuff, but on a smooth-sided strop. Ooh. All right, our last strop here. On the 1 micron. Not happy with that toothy ass edge, so I'm going straight over to my 2000 grit ceramic Sharpening. I'm going to go ahead and wet it. We're going to get started. Light strokes, not too much pressure here. Let the stone do the work. Again, it's 2000 grit, so it's not going to be taking off a ton of steel. It's just cleaning up what we had left over from the 1200 grit. Our goal is to get a very fine slicey edge today, so we've got to take it another step further, which is not a big deal as long as I'm not doing anything wrong. There is something that I am doing that is causing my blades not to be sharp after all the work that I've already put into it. Please comment below and say, hey, you are doing this wrong. Because, man, I have thought of everything, and we're still having these issues. But I'd rather have these issues with you guys here to help me. And that's what this thing is all about, helping each other. And a very fun hobby that we all enjoy. And keep the fresh water on there, keep the slurries off. I really thought this was a good video for you guys to see the scratch pattern on the bevel all the way up to the apex. The contrast is just amazing. And here's me flipping it over. You can see the wedge shape. It's about a 17 to 18 degree angle. And you can also see the wire burr right on the apex at the bottom of the screen.